Lots going on, lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we got to start in Argentina. I almost started today's show with "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," but it was either a weird dance version or a slow burn, and we'd have to spend a minute listening to the whole like lead up to the "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" part. It might have been worth it, but yesterday Argentina went absolutely bonkers. They bonkers with happiness. They elected Javier Milei. I think that's how you say his name. And he's the new president of Argentina. Sergio Massa has recognized his defeat and conceded. So that's interesting. And classical liberty says the best thing to happen in politics in our lifetime. So Argentina is a very, very rich country, very, very rich country. And it used to be a hotbed of an amazing place to be. It was rich, and there were a lot of people putting on shows there and so on and so forth. Bad governance has made it into a terrible place with high inflation, high cost of living, so on and so forth. Sounds like another place I know. And so Javier's tapped into that discord, that displeasure, and electrified his populace, and they elected him 55-44. So that's a landslide victory. It's a big, big victory. And Argentina is out in the streets celebrating. Jim Ferguson says, breaking news, Argentina is exploding in celebration right now as Jim Milei wins presidency of Argentina in a stunning victory that will shake the left, not only there, but around the world. Congratulations, Argentina. I hope this isn't too loud. I'll make it half here.
Vamos! The man, the myth, the legend.
So people are excited. There's street parties, lots of things going on in Argentina. The population is very, very excited. And so that's interesting. Liz says Javier Milei has won the Argentina elections. Now watch as the WEF, United Nations, WHO, try to throw him in prison. So this is what I've been talking about all along. If you manage to free your nation from a WEF controlled puppet, then your nation now becomes a target, and you'll have a hard time trading. You'll have, diplomatic issues here and there, and so on and so forth. And will that happen? I don't know. We'll see. We'll watch what happens with Argentina. But it seems like here is Archbishop Villano. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, but accidentally, I assure you. And he's talking here about how the WEF has infiltrated all of the world governments. And I will show you just before, the reason I'm showing this to you here is because whenever there's a change in guard and a leadership, it bears looking. Do they have a WEF profile? Oh, yes, he does, right? And so is everybody excited about this? Not everybody. Amazing Polly is the canary in the coal mine in this one. And she says, nah, don't like it. I don't like it at all. So Javier Milei has this WEF page. He doesn't look happy in it, right? But there you go. It looks like a hostage picture. So is he a person who is coming in to free Argentina? Or is he, yes, we can, Barack Obama, Argentina style, and another WEF puppet? I don't know the answer to this. I hope it's the first one. I hope that he's there to free Argentina and make it a wonderful place to be. Starship Troopers, that was like Buenos Aires was where they were from, right? And it was a beautiful paradise and so on and so forth. But here, if he's a WEF puppet, it would explain the big win, right? Also. So here is the Reverend. Oh, he's not a Reverend. He's a bishop. There we go. Sorry. Don't want to reduce his rank or anything like that, right? Here we go.
Those who do not adapt to this fourth industrial revolution will find themselves ousted and will lose. They will lose everything, including their freedom. In short, Klaus Schwab is threatening the head of government of the 20 most industrialized nations in the world to carry out the programmatic points of the Great Reset in their nation. This goes far beyond the pandemic. It is a global coup d'etat against which it is essential that people rise up and that the still healthy organ of state start an international juridical process. The threat is imminent and serious. Since the World Economic Forum is capable of carrying out its subversive project, and those who govern nations have all become either enslaved or blackmailed by this international mafia.
enslaved or blackmailed by this international mafia. So is that Javier's story, or is Javier the freedom bringer, right? I don't know. I hope that it's the freedom bringer. Ed says, for the record, he's responding to himself. He says, as a tribute to the new WEF puppets who had just taken power in Argentina, I present an updated version of The Monkeys Go to Davos. I wonder if you can spot all the changes I made. And he continues, for the record, Javier's status as a WEF puppet is in doubt. Apparently, they don't like him. However, after the last 3 years of BS, they are all puppets of the system until they prove conclusively otherwise. I would agree. And I feel like a lot of people, if they don't understand the game, they'd be willing to make a compromise. And as soon as they make a compromise, they've got the powers that be have got them, because they're going to say, well, now we're going to blackmail you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And the compromise may just be, I'm going to let my guard down here and have a few drinks. And then bingo, bango, bongo, you wake up and compromising pictures of you are taken. And now they've got you, right? Like, there's all sorts of ways if you don't make it easy for them, right? And that's just, I've watched The Bourne Identity. I've watched all sorts of movies, right? I don't have to, the imagination doesn't have to go far to understand how these things play out. Maxime Bernier says, wonderful news from Buenos Aires. Javier Milei, hopefully I'm saying that right, a populist libertarian conservative who is a proponent of the Austrian School of Economics, like me, and wants to overturn decades of disastrous leftist governance in Argentina, which has destroyed this once rich country, has just defeated the corrupt Peronist candidate and been elected president. Our ideas are on the rise around the world, and the left is losing. Well, it was only a matter of time. You can only say that reality doesn't exist for so long before reality asserts itself and slaps you in the face, right? Like, Donald Trump says, make Argentina great again. There's a picture of Javier standing in front of the Don't Tread on Me flag, which got that kid suspended, right? You can't be in here with that bag, with that flag on here. So there you go. Looks like in Argentina, kids can show up with that on their backpacks. Clandestine says Trump seems to be excited about the win. So Trump's cool with it. And apparently here is his post on Truth Social. Ian says Donald Trump releases a new statement on Truth Social after Javier Milei becomes the next president of Argentina. Donald Trump writes, congratulations to Javier Milei on a great race for president of Argentina. The whole world was watching. I'm very proud of you. He will turn your country around and truly make Argentina great again. Thoughts? There you go. I mean, hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. Or they're all WEF puppets. Every single one of them, top to bottom. It's turtles all the way down. Amazing Polly says, that's it. That's exactly what's happening. She says, and the hero worship cycle begins again, this time with an Argentinian who apparently said some stuff that appeals to a base. The guy is putting on an act. The WEF likes him because he likes crypto. And Amazing Polly continues. She says, I just read that Milei wants to replace his country's currency with the US dollar. So, yeah. That'll be interesting, right? We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? I certainly couldn't predict what's going to happen. The twists and turns of this episode of humanity have just been wild. It's been wild and crazy the last couple of years, from season COVID and on. Jim Ferguson says, it's time to completely close down the World Economic Forum. They're evil and corrupt, and they use fear and blackmail and intimidation to force their way. The people of the world need to form up and demand every politician who is linked to this fanatical cult, like global fascist movement that has no good intentions for humankind, is disbanded and treated with the disdain and revulsion they deserve. We don't want their feudalism. They are not our lords and masters. So this is a minute-long clip on the Ingram, I think it's the Ingram angle. Oh, no, that's not the angle. Whatever. This is a Fox News thing. They're talking about the World Economic Forum and what they're doing. I'll play it. Here we go.
No, you have it correct. I mean, first of all, we have to accept the World Economic Forum is a fanatical political organization that uses fear and manipulation like COVID hysteria, like the hoax of global warming, to really facilitate people thinking that somehow they're the saviors, but really all you're doing is helping them accomplish their goal, which really is a global public-private fascist movement and fusion of big government, big tech, big money to create a technocratic ruling elite, which conveniently is them. And really, Laura, if you want to look at it a different way, too, with the World Economic Forum, they want to create feudalism 2.0, in which we are serfs and they are the lords ruling over us. You'll have nothing and be happy is one of the things that comes out of Davos. That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for feudalism in which we are serfs and we should be happy that they are ruling over us. No,
and we don't want that. We should say no, emphatically no. Bonnie Crombie, who was former mayor of Mississauga, there's an acting mayor in place now while she runs for Liberal leadership. She wants to introduce a universal basic income, right? Mark Patron says dignity equals more government handouts, right? And Bonnie Crombie says everyone deserves to live with dignity. I'd bring back the basic income pilot that Doug Ford canceled. So this is the Liberal leader, or one of the Liberal leaders. But here's these two are MPs, current sitting MPs. And I don't know who Ted is, but here we go. Here's Bonnie Crombie talking about universal basic income yesterday. Day before. Here we go.
One up. That's why I said we were a caring and compassionate party. And I know that I believed in the income pilot that was canceled by Doug Ford, and we need to reinstate that because I think people need a basic income and a basic path so that they can have dignity.
When people tell you they don't understand economics, you shouldn't make them the leader of the Liberal Party. I don't get how money works, so elect me to be the leader of the party. Yay! That'll really help the economy, which I don't understand. Obviously, based on that little bit of rhetoric there, Bonnie Crombie. Colin DeMello, let's move on to batteries and other people who don't understand the economy, or that you can't predict, I guess. I think that you probably could predict that lithium ion wasn't going to be viable. It wouldn't take much math to understand the barrel of oil comparison we did the other day, talking about how many barrels of oil it takes to create a $200,000 battery that replaces 1 barrel of oil. Doing that kind of math, I think you could predict that lithium ion wasn't going to be the thing that really took off for cars, right? Sure, it ticks off some other check marks that you need for electric cars, but it doesn't tick off check marks you need for cars generally. And so it's not viable. And so it's interesting when the government is wasting a whole bunch of money and then doing all of this. What's happened is Canada has spent billions with a B to build and subsidize these battery plants for electric cars. We've bet on the wrong horse, and the horse has got a broken leg and it's kind of hobbling down the race, and everybody else is, running around the track because they're not injured, driving around the track because they're in gasoline-powered cars. Anyway, we bet on the wrong horse, and the companies are not doing well. Volkswagen's stopping its production. Stellantis was looking at going to the United States because there wasn't enough subsidies here, so on and so forth. But in addition to all of that, the collapsing whole market for this electric car thing, because GM can't move them, in addition, we've subsidized to the tune of billions these factories, and now they're going to import workers to work in the factories. Canadians don't even get the jobs. They're going to bring workers from other places to do the jobs in Canada. Welcome to Canada. You get a high paying job. You're welcome. Here's Colin DeMello. He says, a handful of temporary workers from South Korea have arrived in Windsor to staff up a new Stellantis battery plant, according to officials with the Ontario government's, raising concerns that taxpayer subsidies could be used to employ international auto workers over Canadians. Where's Unifor, right? There's a strike in there somewhere, I'm sure. Here's Global News. And again, it's Global News. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, because these people lie about absolutely everything, right? So this could be a very divisive wedge. It really could be. So take it with a grain of salt. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. It looks pretty solid, but these people lie. So here we go. A handful of temporary workers from South Korea have arrived in Windsor to set up the Stellantis electric vehicle battery manufacturing plant, according to officials with the Ontario government, raising concerns that massive taxpayer subsidies could be used to employ international auto workers over Canadians. Constructions on a gigafactory, a joint venture between Stellantis and LG Energy Solutions, resumed over the summer after the company received $15 billion, with a B, in performance incentives from both the federal and provincial governments to propose hundreds of thousands of batteries over 10 years. The rescue package, designed to compete with the subsidies offered under the United States Inflation Reduction Act, was pitched by politicians as a deal that would save thousands of auto sector jobs in the domestic labor market. I think this is a historic deal that's a great agreement, and it protects the thousands of jobs that, quite frankly, were at stake, Economic Development Minister Vic Fieli said of the 25,000 people company promises to employ. Questions began swirling, however, after the employment after temporary foreign workers from South Korea started arriving in the city, with indications that more than 1,000 international workers could be landing in Windsor in 2024. On Thursday, Windsor police posted photos of a meeting with South Korean Ambassador Lim Wong-sun on X, formerly Twitter, to discuss the South Korean workforce coming to our community. With the new LG Energy Solutions battery plant being built, we expect approximately 1,600 South Koreans traveling to work and live in our community in 2024, said the force on social media, so you can see that there. While the provincial government declined to offer details on the contract signed with Stellantis, citing confidentiality, officials told Global News that the company took steps to determine whether it could tap into Canada's temporary foreign workers program. The government officials, speaking on background, said the company went through the federal government's Labor Market Impact Assessment, LIMA, application to demonstrate that it needed to rely on the international labor market because of insufficient domestic availability. A spokesperson for Minister Fiali pinned the blame on the federal government. Quote, "We're aware of reports of international workers linked to Next Star project under the federal work permitting system," they told Global News in a statement. "Ontario has one of the most skilled workforces in the world and thousands of talented men and women who are more than capable of performing these jobs." Right. But, oh well, loopholes are loopholes, and they're taking advantage of them. And, are you going to really step on the federal government's toes there, Doug? I don't see it. Right? Holly Doan is reporting electric vehicle subsidies to date will cost taxpayers up to $50 billion with a B, including debt financing charges, says PBO. The figure is triple the value of annual production of Canada's auto sector. So that's wild. So the annual production is between 15 billion and 19 billion a year, depending on the year, right? And so 15.5 billion in 2020. And it's kind of bouncing around since then. So it's interesting how much we're putting into electric cars when I think it's very, very clear that we've bet on the wrong horse. We've bet on a lame horse, and the darn thing is nearly dead over there by the starting sign. Right? Volkswagen stopped. GM stopped. Right? The horse needs a drink, for crying out loud. It's crazy. So, it's a situation where, like I said yesterday, if you didn't jump at the right time and lock in that mortgage, you kind of eat that money. And what happens is, where your payment could have been $1,500, it's now $2,500, and you're eating $1,000 a month. And you think to yourself, darn it, I didn't have to spend this kind of money, right? But because you screwed up, you did. And we screwed up, and we bet on the wrong horse, and now we're going to have to pay for that. And that's unfortunate. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful